Hi everyone, welcome to this quick video on how to add dynamic data from a GitHub data source CSV file with a changing date title. So here I am in a brand new Power BI, and we're going to go into Get Data and choose Blank Query. And in here, I'm going to provide the code for you, but you're going to copy and paste it into the advanced editor. So the advanced editor basically lets us type M code in more than one applied step. So let's take a look at this code here and break it down. So we did this in class in the last week, and each of these lines of code are creating a new variable. So we're getting today's date time. Then the next line of code, we're converting that to just the date. Then we're going to grab yesterday's date by minusing one of the add days function. And then we're going to format that to text and convert it to a month, day, day, year file, because that's the file name format. Instead of slashes, we're adding hyphens, and we're making sure that month has both the first and second placement. We're going to append the .csv to the end of the file name so that when we grab it from online, we can pass this root path. So here it is. We're grabbing a CSV document from the web, the daily reports, but you'll notice we're going to append. So here we want it to end up being like this, where we append the date.csv file. So that's what we've done here with relative path file. All right, and then here we're just doing the delimiter, which is a comma. There's 14 columns, and then we're going to promote the headers and then rename. This is happening all in the renamed columns applied step, which is this step right here, right? And then it's going to expand the dynamic value. So I'll show you what that looks like, and it's going to change some data types. All right, so we can click done here. And basically here we can see all those applied steps on the left-hand side, or on the right-hand side. So here's our system date time. You'll notice there's the time. Here's the system date, and it's 6/. We don't want slashes. Here's yesterday's date, so we -1, June 1st. And then here it is with hyphens and the 0 before the 6. We've appended the .csv to the file name. We convert it to a table. We rename the columns to latest file name. So if you really want, what we can do is we can right-click and duplicate this query. And then what we can do is delete these steps after rename column. And then you can grab, don't worry about the errors, you can grab just the date from this row, or even, here, or really you could grab it from here, the date format, so that in your report on the card view you can say last refreshed and then add this. Except obviously you'd want to convert it to a table. We don't need to append the .csv to it though, so you can get rid of that applied step too, right? And then we rename the column to last. Instead of latest file name, you would rename this to last refresh date. All right, and then we could also name the table that last refresh date. Now coming back to our first query, where we left off, we renamed the column to last file name because we're appending CSV to it. Then we invoke a custom function, which is adding this column called dynamic value. And we can see here, what these buttons mean is when you click them, you're going to get all these columns coming from online. Now, the code in the M code already does that. You can see that in this applied step called expanded dynamic value, which is basically taking that table. Here's the M code for that table, CSV document web contents, and there's the link that we're pasting and appending our relative file path to it. We're expanding those column values, and we can see here we're getting the latest date. And then we change some of these column data types to the correct data types, because before this last applied step, they're all just strings and numbers, whereas here, this is now a date time. So then what you can do is we can rename this table to live data, and then we can close and apply. And now you'll have access to those models to use them on your report for the assignment. So we could grab a table. In that table from live data, we can grab something like the deaths or the confirmed cases, and we can put them in by country and region. So there you go. You can see, make that a little bit bigger, but we can order it by confirmed cases, and there you go. You're already one step to being closer. We can also add a card view, and we can make this our last refresh date, and then we can just drag this column in on the card view, and there's our last refresh date. Obviously, you'd want to format that with the long date name. All right, so that is basically how we add live data from GitHub with a changing file path as a date. And then if you just click refresh, it'll always grab the most recent date based on your computer's local date. All right, thanks everyone for watching, and good luck with the assignment.